Hello, Multiverse. This is Damian Bazile with Omniverse Gamers. Today we're going to talk about the cheapest way to make hundreds of maps. And when I say cheap, I mean like the price of crayons. Now, what I use a lot of different methods to map. I use, official maps. My girlfriend got me a lot of really cool, like, grid maps. And I DM at a store where we have this nice, they do Warhammer, so they have all kinds of props and cool ways to do maps. This is not the best way to do maps. This is the cheapest and easiest way to do maps. And it's very versatile. And what it's about is what's called NRolls. So let me grab one here. This is an NRoll. This is a little one. So what an NRoll is when the newspaper runs, they have these big, massive sheets of paper that weigh like hundreds of pounds, and they roll it through the whole press to print the whole paper all at once. But it comes to a point where the roll is too small for it to go through the press the whole way. So you get what's called an NRoll. This is newspaper that hasn't been printed. You get them at your local newspaper. I buy these for 50 cents, literally 50 cents for, I can get 100 maps out of one roll. Probably more than 100 maps. It depends on, they're different sizes. Literally for 50 cents, you go there. I'm allowed to pick 5. I usually only get 2 at a time because they're heavy and, you only need so many. But I also sometimes get all 5 because I give them to other people. They have a lot of uses. And the way you make maps out of them, obviously you just draw on them. Let me show you. Let me go over to my little phone, my other camera. So here's my map. Let me just roll this up. This is my paper. So there's my grid map underneath it. I find that these, if your grid map's white like this, white and black, it works the best. If you have one of those beige grid maps, see, this is the grid. This cost me like $20, $30. If you have a beige one, you can always take a Sharpie. This is not a black Sharpie, but you can always color these in darker. And then I don't know if you can see that or not, if it shows up on camera, but the grids are easy to see. Let me show you with the crayon here. I can easily draw a square underneath because I can see that grid, or I can draw a large room just like nothing. And the benefit is, see, some people can't see the grid, even though I'm probably not showing up on camera very well, but I can see it clearly right now under my new fancy light. But the key is sometimes you can't see it, which is fine because all you're going to see is your terrain. Now, so the benefits of making maps this way clearly is the versatility. You can literally draw anything on these pages. Now, it doesn't look the greatest, but it doesn't have to. I personally use crayon. Sometimes I have some pretty good maps I took hours to draw with colored pencils, and they look really nice, but they took me a long time, and it takes a lot of time to get texture out of colored pencils or even markers. Markers are kind of vibrant, but I find crayons, they're super cheap. They are, versatile. You can get these anywhere. You can get them, I think, $1.50 at the most you're going to pay. You can go to Michael's with a coupon and get these for 70 cents. Sometimes you buy 2, get one free. Anyway, crayons. I love making maps with crayons. Not because they're pretty, because they're not, but there's something about, something about crayons when you're using them. Because I love Theater of Mind. The old editions, you do Theater of Mind, and it's nice to describe things, but also grid maps are fun. I own thousands of minis, a lot of minis, and I like to use them. It's cool. It's like, it's 3-dimensional. But I don't like to use them as a crutch. I like to use them as positioning. But the more crude the map, the more description I give, the more the vision is in your brain. And I don't know. There's like, I print out ships. I have this one with boats. I use tissue paper and I put down, and it looks like water. It's really cool. But sometimes I just show up to a game. I have no idea where the party's going to go. I can just lay down the sheet. They'll tell me where they want to go. I'll draw it as we go, and it's really simple. Another thing about crayons, I didn't think about this till recently, but it's I think there's some kind of, like, I think it's called the Proust effect. Like when you go into a room and you have a smell and it brings you back to your childhood. I think something about crayons. We were all kids at one time. We all drew with crayons and we used our imaginations while we were drawing. So like while I'm drawing the crayon, I will describe what I'm describing the room as I'm drawing it. So people are watching, they're paying attention because they're listening and they're watching at the same time. And I think, I'm not a psychologist, but I think there's something there with the crayons. We're all familiar with that in a very fundamental, like, I don't want to say primal way, but like the way we grew up imagining things with crayons. When I'm doing that in D&D, it brings us back there. Because when we're playing, I'm drawing these little lines with crayons, but what I'm describing is vividly in their heads. Whereas we remember these big giant mountains and these things that we were in, and we remember the session as this 3-dimensional terrain. And then later, if I take a picture of it and we look at it later, it's like, this is where we were. We were in this little scribble. You know what I mean? Because it looks like nothing. If you weren't there to get the description, if you're just looking at this map, it's nothing. It's just some crayon. It's some squares. But when you're there, in the game, like you'll see in our gameplay videos when I use it, you're gonna visualize this as I'm drawing it, which to me that's the way to go. And like I said, the versatility of crayons, and also, like I said, you can use this paper. It's as big as you want it. These things you can get. These are like hundreds of feet. So if you have a giant table, you're not limited by a piece of paper. You can make a map. If you want to draw it ahead, go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. This paper's really flimsy. It rolls up. I use I bought this tube at Staples. It's $3. You can pop them right in there. I don't know where the top is. You just pop them right in. And I actually this is a small one. I actually got this to fit into my backpack, which is the whole other video. But you can also, if you don't want to spend the $3, this is one wrapped up in it. This is it's the paper towel roll I just cut. And I can even label it. You know, it says this one's Swamp Tower Pool. I don't even know what this map is. I drew it probably 2 years ago, and you can see it's kind of ripped up, but it also looks kind of cool when you put a bunch of these on the wall. Like it looks like you're a cartographer. I don't know. It's cool. It's got its own coolness to it, even though it's super cheap, super easy. So yeah, that's my video on NRolls, the cheapest way you're ever gonna make a map. Now, I guess I've heard that some newspapers don't sell their NRolls, which I think is stupid because one, it's recycling. Two, that it costs them a lot of money to get rid of them because they're heavy. So like that's why our local Press Republican, they sell them for 50 cents because they don't want the 50 cents, but they don't want the cost of getting rid of the stuff. So you're coming in, taking it away from them and giving them a small amount of revenue. Because I mean they sell a lot, you know, and the bigger your city is, the more newspapers you'll have. So if one newspaper doesn't sell them, I would call around. You're going to find them. I guess I've looked online. They're up to $4 you can buy them for, which sounds expensive, but it's. I mean, I would easily buy. This is 40 pounds of paper. This might even be more than 40 pounds. I don't know. I'm pretty weak today, but I would happily pay $4 for that, no problem. But like I said, it's 50 cents, even $1 or whatever it is. You're going to get a lot of uses out of that. And like I said, it also works as packing paper. You can give it to kids. Kids come over. Here's a big giant page. Go to town. I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather used to get these. I didn't know where he got them. I just remember he used to come home with this paper. And we would go to town. It was a great day. And obviously he was buying paper super cheap because he was a frugal man and he's very smart. And I'm going to pass that on to you today. And I hope that helps you guys at least get some maps out there. And it's a good barrier because, like I said, crayon is super simple. You get a lot of texture out of crayon for a very minimal effort. And there's a lot more colors. Like I like dry erase markers are cool, but the colors are very limited. And I have a problem with my wrists. I don't like to try to erase it. They don't always erase the best, and that drives me nuts. And so this paper, you can have these. You can have them. You can switch from having them pre-made to drawing them on the fly. You can have both. You can put them right on your grid map and go. It's the simplest way to make maps that exists. And it's, like I said, the price of crayons, and whatever the NRoll is, you're gonna get hundreds of maps out of it. I DM twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, for 3 years, and I've used maybe 4 NRolls total, which is a lot. That's counting all the maps I've ever drawn, and sometimes we do multiple maps per night, and that's just how it goes. So I hope this video is helpful, help you guys get some cheap ways to make a map. You do need to buy a grid, although you don't really have to buy a grid. If you really want the super cheap way to do this, start with the NRoll, draw your own grid on it. It's not that hard. You can get a ruler or get a big yardstick, and you can really make the grid yourself. Draw it in dark Sharpie. You could laminate that or something. I think probably the cost of laminating it's probably more expensive than just buying a grid. You know, it's a one-time purchase for a dry erase grid, and you can literally just superimpose these thousands of maps on top of it for the rest of your life. It's never going to go bad. So that's my video on super cheap maps. I hope that helps you guys. You know, Omniverse gamers, like, subscribe, all that stuff. You know, the more help you get, the more videos I can make. I'm going to try to make one of these every week at least, if not more. We have gameplay videos coming. So yeah, I hope you like our channel. I hope this helps anybody, and let me know ideas for other videos. I got one I'm going to do. I know somebody wants an action economy. I got a couple other requests for different videos, but I don't want to just arbitrarily put them out. I want to actually have something to say. I don't want other people to do videos. I'm not just putting these out for nothing. I want to have a reason for these, and hopefully they're helpful. So as I acquire that knowledge and the planning out, I will make some more videos. So have a great day. Hope to see you again soon, and keep on gaming.